You know what? I aspire to be as petty as Kendrick. I aspire to be petty as Kendrick. You know what? Kendrick is my hero of pettiness. He's taken the crown from 50 Cent. Hello, welcome back to the podcast Evolve with me, Lewis, and Sam.
Hi.
My studio's done. This is the studio. This is the setup now. It's all done.
Wow.
Logo's here.
So impressive.
People on the video, people who aren't listening, watch. Look how sick my setup is.
Check out
the
logo.
Yeah, check out the logo. But yeah, man. If you guys enjoy, saying it again at the start, give us a follow, give us a like, subscribe, all that stuff. Podcast Evolve on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, Google Podcast. We everywhere.
Come get some more of us. Lewis might do a studio tour on Instagram.
I actually
do
need to
at some point.
Yeah, I will. I need to sort the cable management. Anyway, Samuel, how are we?
Oh, I am ill again, but
yeah, Sam delayed us for 2 hours because he had a blocked nose, and he still has a blocked nose.
I still have a blocked nose, but it was way worse. All right, Sudafed and my cold recovery routine is helping greatly. It's just it kicked in a bit late. So a bit of background. We're going to talk about how I am. I can usually tell when I'm about to have a cold because my chest just gets uncomfortable. I start getting congested. But life isn't over, you know. I can still survive. I can still breathe fine. But I usually know something's coming up. But because I've been training really heavily and I've been running almost every night, I thought it was because I'm just, tired from so much exercise and so much being a prime athletic male. So I thought that was why I was feeling all bunged up and I thought I was just being a little bish. But it's not that. It was because I was actually developing a cold. What's basically happened now is today is actually when it's hit me hard. So I woke up this morning, runny nose, all that stuff. So if I put my face away to, dab my nose or anything like that, it's because of the cold and I don't want to disgust anyone. But yeah, it's it all hit today and it's ruined everything really because I wanted to go training. I'm still going to try and squeeze a running. I'm going to the London office tomorrow, so I'm just hoping that everything I do today puts me in a better position physically to actually go to the London office tomorrow and do some work and be a participating member of my team. Oh my God, the cold's in my brain, Lewis. It's killing brain cells.
Yeah, sure, it's cold.
Yeah, it's not the fact that training has picked up a notch and I am now doing hard sparring.
Yeah, too many head kicks, man.
Head kicks? I wish it was in head kicks. I have dark spots on my left eye from the heavy shots I've been taking. I'll leave it at that. I've been doing some very heavy sparring. I can definitely take a punch. I've always been able to take a punch. That's not the issue. The issue I'm having is there's like a mental block to me just unleashing myself on my opponents. And my coach thinks it's a mix of either I have autism and I need to get that assessment sorted, or he thinks it's like years of letting people push me down and letting people like talk me down out of like being more assertive and being more like, he's like, you're a big guy. So I'm just surprised at how like calm and relaxed you are with everyone, especially when they're hitting you in the face. And I was just like, it just takes a lot for me to flick like the switch. But once I'm off, like once the switch goes, I'm gone. Like there's no stopping me.
I kind of sympathize you in that, and I think there's a part that plays to it is because we're taught that if we're seen being violent, like even if we're in the right, we're going to be looked at as wrong.
Exactly. So you kind of just
tone
it down. You get your little box.
We can't afford to flip the switch like that.
Exactly. I can't just ask the police for directions like some folk can. You know?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I have to do
exactly what
you know what I mean. I have to do hey sir, how are you, sir? Have a good day.
You have to be way more
smile
patient.
Extra wide when I go up to old people and ask the directions. I have to even when I open the door for someone, it's almost like I have to say thank you to them for letting me have the privilege of holding the door for them. That's what life feels like sometimes. So we're now trying to knock that out of me. But what annoys me is I think it coincides with being ill. So as much as I really want to hit something hard, there's been moments where I literally can't get enough air in my lungs to power my shots or like to power myself to do stuff. So once this cold is over, we'll hit the ground running again. I'm going straight back into hard sparring, aiming to knock out some of my teammates because it'll make them better too. That's what I told myself when I hit people now. But yeah, having a good time. I've lost weight.
Nice.
When I did my initial weight check-in before I agreed to do the fight, we did like a reconfirmation call on in January, like first week of January, and I'd gained my weight back up. So I told my coach I was 108. I was actually 111 on the phone. And now I'm about 104. So January to now, I'm already losing the weight at a good pace. I'm keen to get to 100 by the end of Feb, and I'm keen to hopefully be on the 95 kg by March, which means that we're just coasting. I want to be 85 kg by May, and then I just want to focus on maintaining 85 kg and then just blasting the strength, just focusing on being just really strong for my weight and really fit for my weight and maintaining that consistently. And then hopefully come September, I'm just there leaving someone's family concerned for their safety in front of everyone for all to see.
Christ.
But yeah, that's the mentality we're going in now. Hey, I'm going in with a winner's mentality, man. I'm done.
Nah, that's fair, dude.
And I know I've waffled. It's 5 minutes of me talking about myself now, but just to wrap it up, it's definitely changing my mentality around how I perceive myself, how I talk to people, how I communicate with others. I'm definitely seeing myself as more assertive. I don't think it's any like CTE or whatever it is kicking in. I'm not getting lesions, although I've got dark spots in my eye. I don't think it's that. I think it's now kind of not developing a killer mentality. I'm not Mike Tyson, but now I'm becoming more of like an aggressive person when I fight and believing in myself a bit more. I do see that mentality leaking more into how I'm communicating with others, how assertive I am with what I want and what I need from other people. I do see bits of that aggression coming out, but it's kind of controlled. And it's actually me being a lot more assertive around my points of view rather than flipping. And bless my manager, Joe, amazing guy. I love him. But I think there was a moment today where he said something. What did he say? We'll talk about some like projects we're doing. And then I think I said something, but I realized I was like, yo, this is Joe. Like, you love Joe. Like, calm down. But he's like, well, tell me why this project's important. And I was just like, well, Joe, why do you like it so much? And I was like, whoa, you better calm the hell down, Sam. This is rude. But I'm embracing the fact that I'm not a big scary black guy. I'm just Sam. And people actually appreciate me being honest and me being clear about my points of view and me being assertive. That's what I'm embracing. And if they don't, I'm also learning to not care if they don't. As long as I'm clear on my points and concise, respectful to a degree, but I'm not burning myself trying to be the most respectable and loved by everyone kind of person.
Yeah,
like
I hear you, dude. Yeah,
we've joked about me being like, me not caring about being loved, but deep down, the part of me always has cared about being loved. But I can see that going away now. I care about getting a good job done. Simple as that. Lewis, I've rumbled on. How's your week been, man?
It's been good, man. Had my had my second therapy session yesterday, which is good. And I was saying to her the same thing I was saying to pretty much most people who are close to me. Is that it's really weird to have catch-ups and conversations with people and not have a problem or a stress that isn't one that I'm choosing. Which is good. Like it's a good thing, and it's just learning how to operate differently. So we caught up on that. I also had a conversation with her about the kind of people who I want to work with, and she kind of helped me put the steps in place to build a framework for how to find the people who I want to work with for the editing business. In terms of like direction, because I think I've told you outside the pod that, I like when my direction isn't like extremely vague, because I don't like to waste my time. I like to be very clear on a task, and leave as little room for error. So we kind of had a conversation about that as well. So yeah, it was good. It was good to kind of put that in place. I'm still going to do my bi-weekly sessions. I think that's working for me, and I think it will keep me well managed, because I'm very tempted to be like, oh, I could probably do it monthly now because things are fine. But I think that's a stupid thing to do. It's kind of similar to the journaling. I have slacked on it. I need to do that consistently, and because things are good, I'm slacking on the things that I was doing before to get me to where I am. So I need to keep on focusing on the mental health things. I'm basically trying not to view myself as like I'm fixed and I don't need to do these things anymore. Whereas actually, I should still keep doing it. But yeah, man, things are good. Things coming to light recently about predictions that I had last year about work as well. So the old job, basically, you know how I was very much oh yeah, I already told you this, but basically for the listeners, I wanted to exit my old job as quickly as I could because I had a fear of redundancy. And by the time this goes out, I received news that basically redundancies will be made. So I'm very happy that I have definitely made the perfect timing and the perfect move. Otherwise, I would be in that situation. So that's news that I won't say good news. I won't say bad news because it's bad for some of the people that I do like, and they're going to be in a situation. However, people who have done me a heap full of stress, karma has come back to get them as well. So I'm not going to pretend that I didn't laugh because I did. Because I did.
People who've done you wrong are being
People who
punished
did
by
me
the
wrong,
universe.
yeah. The frogs are storming the castle.
Don't ever let Lewis convince you he's not a vengeful person. Don't ever. The revenge lives rent free in this guy.
You know what? You know what? I aspire to be as petty as Kendrick. I aspire to be petty as Kendrick. You know what? Kendrick is my hero of pettiness. He's taken the crown from 50 Cent. He's taken the crown.
Oh my god, yes.
He's the
50 Cent
pettiest.
versus
He's the pettiest
50 Cent
person of all time, and I
versus
love
Ja
it.
Rule. 50 Cent versus Ja Rule has nothing. It can't even touch what Kendrick has done to Drake. Like there was a time, I remember there was a time when we were debating who would win this. Now I feel stupid for even questioning who was going to win this.
But Kendrick won 6 months ago. And
he is destroying his enemy in totality. He's not leaving any ashes.
He did. I feel like there's a 51st law now because of Kendrick.
There must be
50 Cent. He did a book with Robert Greene called like the 50th law. I think Kendrick invented the 51st and the 52nd law. I've never seen anybody be destroyed this way, and I love it.
Imagine like okay, let me put it this way. There is attempts to cancel him. There's attempts to cancel Kendrick by Drake, mainly. And it's more cancel as in not remove Kendrick, but remove all the infrastructure resources around him so he can't operate in the public domain. That's what cancellation usually does, right? You attack someone's brand, all of their sponsorships and everything goes away, and they can't operate, they can't do what they want to do anymore. They're effectively cancelled. The fact that Drake has effectively tried that through lawsuits, and Kendrick has fully just gone, nah. And to a point where Apple Music and Super Bowl, like, yo, freedom of speech, bro. Like, why are you suing us for? The Universal Music Group are getting sued. They're like, freedom of speech. He can say what he wants. It's performance art. And he is completely destroying Drake to a point where I think the only way Drake has an out is to just stop caring. And he just needs to stop. It's hard to.
There are ways that he can win, but I can't say it on the podcast. Like he's yeah, no, it's mad. But
Kendrick would be a martyr. Kendrick would be a martyr. It would be worse. I think he just needs to let it go, release some albums for the 12% of fans you have left.
It's really god.
And just make a humble return. And for the love of God, for at least 2 decades, don't start beef with anyone. He won one against Meek Mill, and then Pusha T destroyed him. Kendrick has pushed you fully into the hole. Just let it go.
He needs to just disappear. Just move to Cuba or something. Change your name.
Yeah.
You just have to disappear. You just have
invest in property.
Yeah.
Invest in property like the other people whose careers end. Right. Anyway, which celeb are we actually talking about today?
Yes.
We promised a celeb episode.
That's true.
Who are we talking about?
We are learning lessons from the one and only Kevin Hart. And you know what? I think he should be spoken about more in business. Okay. He's actually very, very fucking good at what he does. And in the research that I've done, I think he needs to be spoken about more. And I think I touched upon Kevin Hart when I was talking about scaffolding and how, but basically when you have, as a reminder, talk about when you have like one avenue or something, for example, his stand-up comedy, But then he realizes, oh, I can't be reliant on that. I'm going to build something else, and I'll build something else and build something else. And I was listening to that episode with him and Trevor Noah, and it was basically talking about that. And to introduce the topic, obviously, as everybody knows, Kevin Hart's a stand-up comedian, and he was already very successful as a stand-up comedian, making a shitload of money from it. However, he didn't want to be reliant on it, and he is very, very good at pivoting. Because once he realized he couldn't be reliant on stand-up comedy, he was like, oh, I need to go into acting. And then he started off making cameos into basically every single comedy movie in the early 2000s. So he started off with like 4-Year-Old Virgin, and he started off with Soul Plane. He was doing all these cameos to be like, I'm going to make these cameos really, really fucking funny until I become like a Hollywood actor. And then it was just pivoting into everything else, like the production company,
Hart
into like
Productions.
into the tequila brand as well, which basically, because The Rock had one again, but which was just genius marketing, because it immediately made it known. And he's the one who's always said, like, I think him and The Rock actually are very similar in terms of their work ethic, in terms of like outworking everybody in the room, and actually looking into a lot of his businesses. He knows how to collaborate with the best people as opposed to him leading it. He's basically the face of the brand, and he works with people who are smarter than him to operate his businesses. And that's the same with the tequila company. That's with his I think he was an investor in like the Fabletics, like underwear brand.
God, he nearly got me into buying it until I realized it was a bloody subscription model.
Oh, was it? I didn't even see that.
There was something, I think it was, yeah.
But yeah, he knows how to basically use his status to be like, I want to do this. I want to find someone who's really, really good at it, and I'll just throw money at it and say what I want to do, and I want someone to go and do it for me. And essentially, I don't know if it's collaborating. I don't know if he's just really good at hiring. But
Okay.
he knows how to pivot into different things, and he knows he doesn't need to do it himself. He can get people to basically execute for him because they'll do a better job of it. It's similar to how Ben Francis, who was a Gymshark CEO, stepped down to CMO because he knew there'll be someone who would be a better CEO. And I think Kevin Hart does the same thing here.
And we've talked about this before in terms of if you love the idea enough, you need to know when maybe you're not the best person to see it through.
Yeah, and I think it's really good. And I think it's ego needs to be removed from business decisions. And I think
100%.
Kevin Hart doesn't have an ego that he doesn't need to be Mr. CEO of everything.
Yeah,
which I think is good because I think he knows where his skill set is.
He knows what he enjoys doing.
Brand. Yeah. And I think when you're in that position, you have the luxury of being like, I actually want to do this bit. I don't need to be CEO and be seen on, whatever, because I'm already Kevin Hart. I don't need to do all that. And that's probably where a lot of his pride and his joy comes from, is just like doing his shit. But yeah, I think he's very good at having a portfolio of things and doing that scaffolding to make sure he doesn't fall short financially in his endeavors.
I do love his approaches. So I do love how he's positioned a lot of his brands that fall underneath him. I also love the naming conventions he uses.
Yes.
So
I'll let you explain.
Cold as Balls. Brilliant naming convention. We've got Heartbeat Productions, Heart to Heart, his podcast type thing that he had for a bit, and I think he's changed it now to Gold Mines. It's something he does now. So instead of Gold Mine, it's Gold Mines, and speaking to people who are like doing well for themselves. He's now actually, although he's primarily seen as a comedian and actor, he's seen as a respectable business person and a notorious negotiator when it comes to businesses. He's a really good investor in terms of he knows what to look out for. He's not just someone with money who has someone who does his investment for him and it just makes money for himself and he just goes around splashing the cash. He's a character. He's a brand. He seems to be very good at tailoring the brand for the conversation that's needed. If he's on Dragon's Den, he can still be jokey joke, Kevin, but he can also bring out the business jargon, the business acumen, rather, and say what needs to be said. Or Shark Tank, sorry, not Dragon's Den. Shark Tank is the American one, isn't it? When he's on Mark Cuban's podcast, he's straight to the point. They can still crack jokes. In fact, I was watching a clip recently about how he missed out on them investing in Uber in the very early stages. He could put like 50 something K into Uber and it would have turned into hundreds of millions by now. And he said no because he couldn't see proof of concepts. And he laughs about it, but you can also tell like the businessman part of him is crying inside. It's pissed off, and it's almost like he doesn't let decisions like that set himself back. He rejuvenates and he comes back. He survived numerous attempts to get cancelled, and I know this is the second time I've mentioned being cancelled, but it's like survival is a badge of honor. But he's done very well to undo what we've talked about previously when it comes to when you build a business off an individual's brand. Usually the businesses fail when that individual's brand dies. Yeah. Elon Musk being an example of businesses that get stressed having someone like him as leadership, because every now and then you're just watching the stocks go up and down because he might do something crazy stuff. Kevin can own a business, be a bit crazy, and his businesses still thrive on growth.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about this because you mentioned in a previous episode you didn't have to treat cheaters, and it's very well known that Kevin Hart cheated.
Kevin Hart is a cheat. He cheats.
I actually forgot that he did until we actually just started talking about how he ruined the brand. And he did. Do you remember he did a music video and it was like Kevin's Heart and it was a J. Cole song? Do you remember?
Yeah.
And I don't understand how he has made the world forget that he
made people feel sorry for him for being a cheat, and then he made them forget.
Yeah, I don't know how he did that.
Like, he cheated, but coincidentally was in a car accident at the exact same time. And then we all just kind of went, oh, Kevin's hurt. But he's so charismatic and funny, it's easy to forget that he's done dumb stuff like that. And that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. It's like, would I work with him? Probably not. Based on that just personal rule of indiscretionate cheating. I mean, at this point, you're portraying yourself as an honest person. You're doing the dirt. Let's see how his relationship with Nico Hart goes for a bit longer. And then if I was ever presented an opportunity to collaborate with Kevin and become a millionaire too, maybe I'll, become a dirtbag and lie to all my audience and turn back on what I've just said. We never know. If there's enough zeros, I can let go of my personal values.
No. It's gonna get clipped one day.
God, I really hope that does not age badly. It probably will. Anyway, back to the point I was making. His recovery is insane when it comes to stuff like that. His ability to bounce back from negative moments, from the Cat Williams moment, where Cat Williams basically dragged him. He's had multiple celebs since then come back off that Cat Williams podcast and basically drag him down.
I can't remember the Cat Williams one. What did Cat Williams?
Cat Williams basically called him an industry snake because his comedic career has blossomed off the back of this joint. Yeah, and it's not even just that. There's other comedians that have come out and they've gone like, yeah, Kevin's a dick, Kevin's this, like Kevin's basically walked on other people's backs to get to where he is and all these things. And maybe he is, but as a businessman, if we're looking at his financial success, if we're looking at how well his business is doing, if we're looking at his potential to grow even further in the world of business, it's huge. And he's doing very well for himself. And he clearly just has a vision. He has a goal and he gets there. I would argue this has been his long-term plan from the beginning. Being a comedian was a brand that he created so he can do all of these other things in the future. And he's got a certain mentality that I had a business tutor tell me about. And it was something to do with people that do intense sports. There tends to be a pattern of people who do very intense sports have a really good knack for having great resilience in business. And Kevin did swimming in a time of the world where black man swimming was weird, right? And he was part of a big swimming group in the town where there was a load of black kids that could swim. And it's just unheard of, right? And it sounds weird to many people who are like, oh, he's doing the racing again. But it's true. It's weird to see a team of black swimmers. You rarely see a black person swimming in the Olympics. Like, that's kind of it. But that's the background he came from, of being that kind of he's also ridiculously fast, athletic basketball player. Someone who is shorter than my cousin, who's probably like 5'6". Kevin's probably shorter than that.
I think he's 5'2".
There you go. And somehow, amazing basketball player, especially for his height. There's levels that I think his brain works at in terms of just forgetting what holds him back in life. And it just, wherever it is, wherever that part of his mind is, I think it plays a role in maybe the lack of respect he's had or the lack of care he's had for his impact on other people's lives, because he's so focused on the end goal of being driven. Similar to maybe he's had a lack of a damn about his own well-being in his journey towards success. Yes, he's focused on health and well-being now, but I would argue he's probably lived a life where he's gone swimming and done all these things regardless of drowning or regardless of passing out, regardless of not being good. He just pushed towards an end goal. It's almost like when we talked about the Kobe Bryant kind of mentality. But I think with people like Kevin and we talked and people like Ryan Reynolds, they're hard workers, but when you joke all the time, it's a shock to everyone. It's a wow factor. Whereas if you're always a hard worker, everyone expects that of you, right? If Kobe was still alive and was doing all this business stuff, you'd be like, yeah, fair play. His head's always in the game, right? If not Jordan Peterson, bloody hell. Who's this bloody hell? Maybe I have been hit too hard in the head. The guy I always say people maybe should be a bit wary when they follow the marathon runner guy. Black guy, Navy SEAL.
Goggins.
Goggins, yeah. Why did I forget Goggins?
Are you right?
I have been hit too hard. It's the cold. The cold. I've got a head cold.
You mixed up Jordan Peterson and David Goggins.
I don't even know why.
Yeah, bro, your neurons are fucked, mate.
Not even the same race, not even the same background, not even the same.
Not the same field, industry.
Literally, completely. I don't know what happened there. Sorry, guys. But David Goggins kind of being that like hard mindset, him becoming a business success. He's always serious, so it's not a shock. It's not an insulting experience to the brain for him to become like successful. Kevin Hart telling jokes all the time. It's bloody impressive when he does really well in business. But I think people like that do so well because when they sit in a room, when they sit in front of you and they start talking, it's even more impressive that they're so articulate about business because you know them as a joke up onto that moment. So it's almost like the shock factor. And I think that plays well into his hands. And I also feel like his ability to joke around things is what saved him and helped him recover.
To be fair, it doesn't help. I think because to be a stand-up comedian, you have to be really good at storytelling naturally. That makes you very good at marketing. So it wouldn't surprise me to say, like, you know, if he's coming up with a product or whatever, as he's a storyteller at heart, pun intended, he's able to market his businesses, I think, a lot better because he's able to shape like why he wants to do something in that direction. I think he'd be very convincing in that sense. Because if he's able to tell the story behind the brand, it's going to be easier to get people behind it. Because he knows how to use language for power, right? Because he's very good at talking. So considering that businesses, most of the time their success depends most of the time on how it's marketed, he's a very good marketer because he's very good at storytelling, which is basically what marketing is. So I think he's used his stand-up prowess for business in that sense.
Has he had any terrible business ideas that people have do you remember any?
I can't, to be honest.
I really can't. I generally, I'm struggling to think of.
To be honest, I think it's got to be one of those things where there 100% are flops, but because he's had a lot of big wins, we don't recall it.
So you said you did a bit of research on Kevin. What did you find? What was like your moments where you're just like, wow, this guy's amazing?
Very good at pivoting, very good at adapting. For example, in the pandemic, he was doing a lot of comedic specials from home and just releasing it onto Netflix and things like that because, again, he can do stand-up. I thought that was really smart. And it was the point I mentioned earlier is that he will choose who to collaborate with quite intelligently, as opposed to doing the business himself and being like, oh, I'm the CEO of this, this, and this. He will usually be an investor and co-founder and have someone else who is better than him execute his vision, which I think is quite intelligent because, again, I don't think you have to be leading all the time. I think a good leader knows when they need to lead and when they need to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's to the point where actually what impressed me actually is that because I thought he owned Fabletics going into this, but he's actually just the face of the brand.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know who the CEO is. I still don't know the CEO's name right now, but I just assumed it was Kevin Hart's business. And I like it when I discover that flip, because that's how I know the marketing's working. Because I know Fabletics have their own Kevin Hart page, or this is what Kevin wears and things like that. That's because I just thought he owned it, but it's collaborating. So that was actually one of the surprises for me.
I like that. Well, I think one thing I know, I was actually trying to look up online something about him as well. And whilst I was looking it up, I remembered one thing maybe I'd consider a flop. It's not so much a flop because I think it's still alive. Do you remember Clubhouse?
Yes.
That was like one of the sorry, I had to stop my. That was one of the major Kevin Hart plugs that I signed up for. So if anyone hasn't signed up to Clubhouse yet, I don't know if it's still running. Can you check if it is?
Let me go into the lab.
Go into your office. Yeah, go into the lab. Have a look and we should get you a green screen. Then we could put a lab behind you.
Right. It's called Clubhouse, right?
Yeah.
But I'm Googling it and I genuinely did. Oh, it said Clubhouse. Huge group. What? Are you sure it's called Clubhouse?
It was called Clubhouse. It was called Clubhouse, wasn't it? Clubhouse app.
It just seems to have pivoted massively to some fucking.
Yeah.
It's pivoted completely.
Has it?
Yeah.
Ew.
Like the branding completely changed. It doesn't look premium anymore. It looks like a.
Ew, what have they done?
I feel like this has just completely failed.
Okay, so that was one of the fails I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
So Clubhouse was something Kevin Hart was plugging, and when it started, I loved the premise of it. I loved the idea that it was invite only, because it really took advantage of that 6 degrees of connection or whatever it is. Like everyone is connected to everyone in the world through 6 people. I always had one issue with that kind of ruling, because there's like some hidden island somewhere that hasn't contacted humans before. And I'm willing to bet they're not part of that 6 degrees of separation. So anyway, that's me being a bit pedantic. Clubhouse was built on the idea that we're all connected to each other one way or another. So rather than an app that focused on massive marketing, it would focus on the fact that you've been invited by a peer. So you would have to have a Clubhouse membership to invite me. And I think when it went live, it was Apple only. I don't know if it's on Android now, but it was Apple only when it first went live.
Yeah.
And what I loved about it was invite only. So it felt like a unique experience that my friend had invited me to. It had a purpose to it. As soon as I was invited, I wasn't joining it out of, oh, let me see what's going on here. I was joining it with a purpose in mind. Someone had invited me in. The other aspect I loved about it was there wasn't ads everywhere. I didn't feel like I was being pushed things. The search functionality was non-existent. So it meant that every time I went on their version of a For You page, it really was just random rooms available. So there wasn't that you couldn't have someone engineer the algorithm to push you certain rooms or these things at that time. And I know Kevin Hart was basically talking about how this is an amazing experience, because it was in COVID where we all trying to find ways to talk to each other. We were in lockdown, so we had to find new ways of communicating, and Clubhouse solved that problem for us at the time. And the other part was you could literally be in a room and a celeb would join, and you were on par with each other in terms of how important your voices were. Everyone's voice had an equal stake. That celeb could get muted just so you can have your point. And now I guess you've got Twitter Spaces, which has completely copied that idea and turned it into something else. But that's what I loved about Clubhouse. You could be in a room with just anyone out of nowhere. Like your favorite football player could join that room because they've randomly discovered it and they want to say something. And what basically happened was it flopped. And I know it's still there, but it became a flop. I don't remember the last time I looked at Clubhouse. I deleted it off every device I had because it was just wasting space on there. No one else I know who joined that uses it anymore. But it was one of the big promotions that Kevin Hart was doing at the time. I remember someone told me that he was invested in it, into the idea of it. So I would consider Clubhouse one of his flops for sure off the back of it. Before I delve deeper into another flop that he's had, I think what the issue is with Kevin's brand is it's very it doesn't sustain well for other products and services. So he's great marketer and promoter in terms of acquisition. I don't think he's as good at helping to maintain brand loyalty for other things because he's just a jokey jokes guy. He grabs your attention, he converts you into a product. It's up to that product or service to then maintain you. Kevin isn't the kind of brand that sticks on that product and keeps, unless it's one that is owned by a Heartbeat Productions and you constantly see his face. And then if anything, you're coming there because of him, because he's such a character. You're not there for the product or service. I think when someone's more serious, you take what they say a bit more seriously and the information lasts in your head longer. So if someone like David Goggins was to say, do this workout, that routine would stick in your head more. Or if they said like sign up for this health service, blah, blah, it's aligned with his brand more and it'll stick in your head more. But Kevin is like a promoter. He's promoting all sorts of stuff that aren't always aligned with him and who he is. So Fabletics, one day he's doing Fabletics, one day he's doing Clubhouse, one day he's doing a restaurant. Like he hasn't built up a long history of these like brands and attached it to his identity. So it just is very fleeting. And the same goes for, like I said, the restaurant. He owned a restaurant called Hart House.
Yeah.
I think that closed. And one of the main reasons people believe it closed is because operational costs were too high. But I think the other thing was, once again, customer retention. Is once he launched something, once he's actually launched an idea, once he's supported the launch of an idea, he's on to the next one. He's continuously building and investing and growing stuff. And because of that, he's not staying and doing that customer retention. He's not helping to build that brand loyalty. So I say that's the one issue. It's almost like he cheats on the business ideas he signs up for.
Yeah, you know what? Now that you say that, I know when he's launched something,
Yeah,
and then after that, you don't actually hear or see him much
it's done. It's on to the next
afterwards.
one.
It's
And he's such a
usually
big character that when you lose on
yeah,
to the next thing, you generally forgot what you worked on last and you care about this new thing.
yeah. It's
But
kind of like a pump and dump.
his audience moves with him everywhere he goes. He's such a
Yeah, because
he's
now
such
it's
a
a tequila,
great
right?
market. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of the tequila brand, do you?
I only know because I looked it up. It's called. It's a weird name. It's not actually. I don't actually think it's a good name. Hold on. Let me go into
Oh,
the
we
app.
just said about how he's good at naming stuff, Lewis. What
Grand
liars.
Coromino.
Oh,
Gran Coromino. Don't know why it's called that. It's called Gran Coromino Tequila.
Gran Coromino
Um,
tequila. I mean, the website's still there. It's still selling.
I mean, he's on the company website, but like, that's
Are
it.
you of legal drinking age? What if I say no? It takes me to responsibility.org.
But yeah. I mean,
Love it.
I don't know. Yeah. Again, it's just a shiny new thing. I feel like every year he's genuinely doing some new business of some kind. But
Yeah.
again, I think it's just like I feel like after listening to him on the Trevor Noah podcast, I feel like it's because of this scaffolding thing. I think he's just fearful of everything failing, that he needs to do something else that's new that raises millions in order to make sure it's another fallback. He has like a plan Z. He really
Yeah.
does.
It's almost like he's scared of waiting too long to sink with the ship.
Yeah.
He has to jump onto
Like
another
the
ship.
boat's just
And another
left.
one.
It's like,
Yeah, the
why
boat's just left. He's just like,
Yeah.
wait, this is the Titanic number what? Nah, I'm gone,
Yeah.
bro. I'm gone.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
I think that's why he does it. After listening to him talk about it, I know it's the scaffolding in him.
he also could just have the world's biggest ADHD.
You know,
just he's basically just side quest his way through life. And now I know it. We've gone through a phase of praising him. We've gone through a phase of essentially just throwing his name in the dirt in terms of he's not good for long-term business. If your business idea is good enough and it's strong enough and you just struggle with acquisition, characters like Kevin Hart are the perfect people to help you get that boost in numbers you need to hopefully get a bit more longevity. I think the businesses in themselves that take advantage of his brand need to be held accountable for their inability to maintain growth. after Kevin's audience is done with them. Because if you bring on someone like Kevin and you don't transition his audience well into staying with your product or service, that's on you. Because his character isn't perfectly aligned to what your brand does. He's happy to, for a short term, build up a temporary character to align with your brand. When he was doing Fabletics, all of a sudden Kevin's like into fitness and he's doing all these fitness stuff and he's building up that the sportsman side of him a bit more and he's doing these workouts on YouTube. And then Fabletics is coming on, and I mean the tequila one, it was a bit of an easy conversion. He knows Dwayne, he knows The Rock. They do jokey jokes. He's okay, I'm joking, I've got my own tequila brand now. It transitions well. He's good at creating a short-lived character to serve your brand's purpose. And he's almost like the Batman of this stuff. Like with prep time, he can do anything. With enough prep time, Kevin is perfect for your brand, right? But it's also down to the business owner to know that this is his audience, like jokes, they like Kevin. So you've got to have a good way of transition. I would argue the perfect transition of someone like Kevin supporting your brand is to hit on the diversity factors, is to hit the African American culture and things they like, and the whole, if it's a food brand, focusing on like the soul food side of things and kind of picking up on that marketing a bit more and growing that out into something. And it's almost like maintaining Kevin's fan base as its own segment, as its own persona, and then carrying that forward. But what most brands do is, what I've seen most brands do is kind of, Kevin will create a temporary character for them and they will just maintain that temporary character rather than dig deeper into what his audience are actually like and build something out for them. They lean into that temporary character, and when Kevin's done with that character and his audience move around with him into his next character or his next endeavor, they're done with that character and therefore they're done using your website. Now you've got a crap ton of users that are signed up, but your daily active engagements is crap. And that's just what's happening. So as much as we brought his name up, I think we also have a duty to clarify that this isn't a Kevin problem. This is a problem of the business is just doing a terrible service or doing a terrible job of maintaining the brand acquisition they've achieved and converting that into brand loyalty. This is their fault, and they need to hold themselves accountable for that as well. Have you got any questions for me?
No questions for you, man.
Oh, nice. It's going to be a quick one.
I think that was a good, succinct conversation.
Yeah, that's a good, quick episode. Love you, Kevin. Would love to meet you in person. I've actually watched one of his shows live before. It was really good. They did the show when they came to Birmingham, and the Plastic Cup Boys were doing their jokey jokes as well. Really good. I will say that in that experience, I learned that I prefer to watch comedy shows on TV because I'm weak. I don't know why, but in person, I've not been to a comedy show in person that's hit, right?
Oh, really?
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's too many people near me. I don't know. I need to sit in my own space to really enjoy it. But I watched the same show on TV. I laughed twice as hard.
That's really interesting.
It was the same jokes. Yeah. So I don't know why. But yeah, really I do think he's a talented person. Give him a few more years of not cheating and maybe I'll love him more. But he's definitely my favorite comedian, though. Yeah. I will say that he's definitely my favorite.
Oh, really? More than Dave Chappelle?
Oh yeah, Fudgy, you're right. Forget that.
I was like,
oh my god,
you got Chris.
Oh my god, Dave Chappelle. Dave, let me tell you the punchline. You still laugh, Chappelle.
Yeah, look,
I'm so sorry. You're right.
Sorry to pivot. We're going to talk about stand-up comedians now. My brother and I saw Dave Chappelle a few years ago, and it was like an hour slot, and he stayed there, and he was like, "I'm not leaving until he had this bottle of rum." He was like, "I'm not leaving until this is empty," and he genuinely stayed on for an additional 2 hours in Hackney Empire, just roasting and just chatting with the audience about shit. It was genuinely the best thing I've ever seen, and his crowd control is unmatched. We need to. I mean, you know what we're doing? We're doing in the future a Dave Chappelle episode.
Yeah, we need to do. Okay, we need to do a Dave Chappelle one, and Sarah has asked. We need to do a Beyonce one at some point.
Fine.
So I think we've done a comedian. The next one has to be Beyonce.
We need to do.
We do need to do.
Mad. We need to do a female celebrity-led focus one.
Do you want to say that again? You want to edit it out and save your relationship before?
No, it's okay.
Rosie comes and slaps you.
I paused. I said pause.
You said it too late.
Yeah, I did say actually off the pod that we need to do a female celebrity focused.
Lewis did suggest it, and I
one.
was like,
I think Beyonce's a good one.
Yeah, I think Beyonce and maybe depend on how it
also
goes.
Serena Williams as well, actually.
Yeah,
because she's actually a business genius, and again, she's petty as shit. So I love her even more now.
I mean, she crip walked her way into my heart.
Yeah, that's so fair.
And
that was we're talking about Wimbledon, not just Super Bowl.
I was talking Super Bowl still. That's the best show ever. It was hilarious. That was hilarious.
Yeah, man.
Right, awesome. Right,
I think that was good. We'll wrap up.
Guys, thank you. Yeah, let's wrap up, man. Let's wrap up.
Sam, you're good at the outros. You've been doing them the last couple of weeks.
You like my outros?
But I'm too low energy at the end of these. Not that it's draining, but you just have better energy at the end.
Look at me. My mouth is so wide you can see my fillings. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you.
I'll do the intro and the outro. We should do the outro.
Yeah, let's get out of here, man. Let's get out of here. Right, guys, thank you very much for listening to the world's best podcast with Samuel Grantson and Lewis Facey. You can find us on Instagram at Lewis.
The Podcast Evolve.
You can find us on YouTube, where you're probably watching me do hand gestures, at
The Podcast Evolve.
You can find us on TikTok at
The Podcast Evolve.
And if you've not found us on Spotify, go look for us on Spotify at The Podcast Evolve or the Evolve Podcast. It's probably easy if you just search Samuel Grantson or Lewis Facey. Lewis keeps bragging about how we've got more eps than all these other Evolve podcasts. Good. Let's keep it that way.
Definitely do now. This is 44, I think.
Oh, God damn, is it? Not 43?
Yeah, 44.
Oh, God damn. I'm proud of us. Well done, us. Go find us on Spotify. Follow us on all these socials we've mentioned. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Don't forget the bell, the dangly dang thing. Click that, right? You need to follow us. We need an army behind us because we've got some fun stuff coming.
Shout out your new website.
Yes. Oh, do I want to shout out? We're still fixing stuff, but it's
shout
live.
Out.
I will. Hire.com. It's HYRR.com. Go sign up. We're doing some great stuff. It's a marketplace where you can sell stuff and rent stuff with your peers. That's right. You don't have to give your jet washer away to your neighbor for free. You can make them rent it from you and pay.
You got Instagram page yet?
Yeah, just look up HYRR on Instagram. We've not put anything on there just yet, but we'll take the follow.
Yeah,
we'll take the follow on Instagram. We'll take the follow on TikTok too. It's about to go places. It's definitely an empty account that's got nothing on there, but just go to the website. Go to the website. Create an account for now. Just sit tight. There's stuff we're doing. I don't want to hear no complaints. I don't want to hear no, oh my God, Sam, the website's broken. We're fixing stuff, but it's live right now.
Did you say it was HYRR?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why did you say that?
Because I went on it and it's just like these two random dudes on it. It might not be that.
Yeah, don't go to the Instagram. Just go to the website.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was like, this is hella sus, bro.
It's very high. It's probably higher _ team on Instagram. That's why I don't want to. Let me do the outro, man. Let me waffle my way to success, Lewis. I'm out here calling it. Just the website will do. Right now it's standard, but sign up. Get ready for some amazing stuff that's gonna come live. We can't. You know me. I can't sit still. I've always got to be cooking something in the kitchen, and Hire is what I'm cooking for you guys at the moment. Right. That's it. I'm gonna go for a run to cure myself of this cold.
Fair.
I'm off, buddy.
See
you soon, guys. Love you, mate. Bye.